Welcome to All About the Philippines. In this video I'm going to give you 10 questions you must ask to get to know your Filipina before you propose to her. I see so many men who go blindly into a marriage with a Filipina who have never asked some of these questions, and they then wonder why his relationship with his new wife is off to a very rocky start. Guys, to give your relationship the very best chance of success, you must be on the same page as your Filipina from the very start. And these 10 questions will certainly get you off to a great start with your Filipina. Just hold on one moment and we'll get to the video in a flash. Looking to date a Filipina or already dating or married to a Filipina? I use my experiences around my relationship with my Filipina wife of 6 years, as well as my professional experience as a qualified relationship counsellor for the past 10 years to help you on your way. Are you after information, tips and resources for a successful relationship with a Filipina and maintain it? Too easy. Just take a second to subscribe and click the bell icon, and I promise you'll never miss out again. It really does amaze me how many men actually marry a Filipina without knowing much about her. I guess for many of these guys, they may have rushed straight into the relationship, which does happen quite regularly with foreigners and Filipinas. And after they marry, that's when the reality hits that there were plenty of questions that he should have asked before they actually got married. While two people will naturally over time get to know more and more about each other, some questions are very important to ask. Some even at the very first contact, as that will be a way to open up communication in a softer way, and over time building up the more serious relationship questions you need to know before marrying your Filipina. If you enter into a marriage without the two of you being on the same page or fully knowing what expectations you both have, then you could be heading for a world of trouble down the track. Now, just quickly guys, lately I have been getting quite inundated with a lot of messages and a lot of questions in particular about Filipinas, about dating and many other things to do with relationships with a Filipina. So for those that may be interested, I do offer my consulting service around pre-dating a Filipina, dating a Filipina and married to a Filipina. This service will be carried out over Skype in 1-hour sessions where I'll answer all your questions and concerns and give you tips and information based on my personal and professional experience as a relationship counsellor. I've put my email address and details in the description where you can ask questions or organise a booking time. I just don't want you guys to think that I might be deliberately missing your questions or not giving a full answer to your questions. It's just that as the channel is growing, I'm getting far more questions and not enough time to answer everybody. Okay, and back to the video. As we go through these 10 questions you must ask to get to know your Filipina before proposing, be sure to check off the questions you may have asked your Filipina before you married her, and be sure to let us know what you scored in the comments below. Question number 1. Ask her about her previous relationships. This can be particularly important question early on after meeting your Filipina. It will allow a topic of conversation where you can both discuss your previous relationship histories and start to get a better feel for each other. You may be looking for a Filipina who has never been married but quickly find out she was married but has been separated for 5 years or so. Because there is no divorce in the Philippines, this may be a deal breaker for you. So it's best to know this very early on so much time is not wasted. Question number 2. If finding a Filipina who may have a good education in the Philippines is important to you, then this is another question that should be asked early on after meeting her. Of course, many men have different ideas around this, and for me, there's no right or wrong. It's just a personal preference. For some it may show that they are driven to learn and better their life, and they can stick at something of value over several years, especially if she has completed a university degree. On the other hand, maybe she was unable to complete a schooling or go on to college or university because her family couldn't afford it, or perhaps she was needed to look after a parent who was ill. Some people may be understanding of that and still look at this Filipina as a possibility for a relationship. But either way, it will still give you guys more to chat about in the initial stages, and it all contributes to finding more out about each other. Question number 3 is asking her about her employment history, may be also an important question for many men looking to date a Filipina. And again, this is a question that can and should be asked very early on after meeting each other. Many guys want a woman who is proven to be hardworking, responsible and independent in making their own way in the world. Some men will see such a woman as a more ideal partner for them. I must admit, when I was looking for a Filipina, that was a question that was very important to me. And when she told me that she'd been working in the same company in security for the past 6 years, I knew I wanted to go and get to know her even more. So those first 3 questions were really icebreaker questions where we could find out more about the Filipina in an easier going and casual way, which will allow you to get to know each other in a more comfortable way. The remaining questions are more serious questions that should be asked as the relationship progresses, and certainly well before any proposal is made. Question number 4. Asking about kids is a very important question from 2 aspects. Firstly, if she's ever had any kids in her life, and be very specific in that question when you ask her, because many Filipinas may have had a child or children who are living with relatives while she works in the city. So to some Filipinas, if you ask do they have any kids, they may assume you mean living with her, and as such she may say no when in reality she has 1 or 2 living with relatives. So be very specific on that question so she understands. And even more important to know is because if she has a child and you're considering marrying this woman, a big consideration also needs to be given around if you are prepared to also bring her child to live with both of you and then take on the responsibility of being a stepfather. Secondly, you need to ask her what her future plans are around having children or more children. Do you want to have more children yourself, or are you over that stage of life? Don't allow her to say, I don't care, or turn it on you and say, oh, well, what do you want? Be sure to have her give you an answer, as all women will know what they want around children and future children. If you both are not on the same page, then big problems can arise down the track. Question number 5. Ask her what qualities she is looking for in a man. I know it sounds a little like a job interview question, but it is an important question to ask of her and for her to give you an honest answer. This will allow you to see more inside of who she is. A woman will generally want a man with similar qualities or values to what she has. For example, a Christian woman may like her man to also be a Christian, or she may look for a man who is kind and compassionate. That is really telling you more about her than saying about you. So ask the question and allow her a minute or so to think about it if she needs, and watch and pay attention very closely to her answers. Question number 6. Be sure to ask her why she's interested in finding a foreign husband and not a Filipino man. This will give you great insight if you watch very carefully, not only to what she says, but how she says it and her body language. Is she giving you a BS answer to avoid saying that she wants a better life? Or is she being honest and genuine? If she's being genuine, you may find that when you asked her previously about the relationships of the past, it could come out that the ex or exes were playing around on her, or they weren't very responsible or serious about that relationship. I've heard this many times over from Filipinas, so it could be that she's genuinely seeking a foreign man for those reasons and not because she wants a foreign man to give her a better life. And she probably does sincerely believe that foreigners are more responsible and serious about relationships in general. Question number 7 is an extremely important question to ask and not assume. Is she happy to move and live her life in your country? That is, of course, if that's your plan for the future. Many guys who go into a relationship with a Filipina and marry her never actually ask this question. They may just assume she'll be happy to come and move away from her family, friends, work and country, but know that many would prefer to stay in the Philippines, so it's not always a given that she wants to go and live in your country. And if you're planning to retire in the Philippines, this question will also give you the opportunity to flag with her your intentions of perhaps retiring in the Philippines in several years' time. She may or may not be open to that idea, but at least it's out there for discussion so you both know what each other's thoughts and preferences are about this. Question number 8. Be sure to ask her about when she moves to your country, is she happy to work there, and for you to think about the type of work she may be able to do in your country. Remember, even if she has qualifications and experience in the Philippines, those qualifications may not be recognized in your country. So if she may want to do similar work, she may need to go back and study in your country, or she may need to settle for a completely different type of job that may not be as professionally rewarding as what she was doing in the Philippines. Question number 9 is a very important one, and that some guys fail to ask at all. In fact, I very recently did a video on this subject that you may like to check out. You really need to discuss with her the issue of sending money home to her family. Before asking her this question, I recommend you doing research to find out how and why this is important for so many Filipinas, and especially the ones who move abroad. If this issue is discussed before any proposal, then you'll know if it'll be a deal breaker before you commit to a lifetime together. For some men, they will accept this as part of her culture and who she is, and are happy to help out her family in some capacity. And other men may be 100% against the idea of sending money to her family. My advice on this is, if it's important to your future wife but you're against it, then forget a relationship with a Filipina altogether. Question number 10 is, once she's in your country, how often does she expect or want to go home to visit her family in the Philippines? And again, a very important question many men forget to ask or discuss with their Filipina girlfriend. But the Filipina will have thought of this already, and she should be able to give you her thoughts on this, as you can also give her your thoughts and come to a mutually agreed decision. So there we go, guys. Asking these questions will get the conversation started at the beginning and also give clarity on some very important questions to be asking before you propose. I can think of many more, but we may save them for another video. And if you have any important questions that you think should be asked before you propose to a Filipina that we didn't cover in this video, then feel free to pop them in the comments below. Also, feel free to share the video with all your networks, subscribe to our friendly community, and press the bell icon to get all our future videos. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate all of your support. Take care, and bye for now.